He did one interview and said 4. I think it was 10. Didn't want to play mid in. Was very stale. But everything's changed. So here we go. Here are the picks and bans. And as if by magic, it is Ziggs, Gragas, and a support ban.
Yeah, Morgana though. We were talking about the Fresh, talking about the Braum, but Morgana will be one of the bands coming out from Ninjas in Pyjamas, and that will be thrown Bonaparte's way. And I don't actually remember too many games in which Bonaparte's been playing Morgana. He likes also the Braums, the Freshes. I've seen him on Zyra a couple times as well.
Yeah, there's the Braum ban.
Okay.
So we're awaiting the Irelia out of NIP.
Where's the Lee Sin?
If it's not Irelia, Lee Sin, and then they probably lock Kassadin for Alex.
Oh yeah.
I would be fairly surprised.
Yeah.
I would be pretty surprised if that wasn't the case. But again, we aren't really in that situation where if Kassadin's there, he gets first pick. There's a lot of good, strong champions right now that are first pick worthy. So it's a little bit more open, and it's actually going to be an Evelyn ban, so Irelia will be available.
Interesting. So Evelyn banned out of this game, this time by Ninjas in Pyjamas. Saw that last time actually by Ku. Didn't really work out too well, but that won't be seen at all in this game. Last ban, I think it would be a Lee Sin. But Irelia's still on the table. Kassadin's still on the table.
Yeah, I think they're weighing up. Do they want Kassadin or Lee Sin let through? And it's a difficult choice. They're gonna they're gonna ban Lee Sin, let Kassadin through.
So, are we expecting a Kassadin first pick? And we've seen it a lot. Actually seen a lot of Twisted Fate first picks as well. Hasn't really been in the arsenal of Ninja Pyjamas over the last couple games that they've played and none of those options.
Yeah.
None of the above. It was actually Cogmore.
Again, I kind of mentioned it. Like Kassadin is still first pickable, but not always the highest priority pick right now. He's not as 100% as he used to be. Cogmore on Freeze is a champion that NIP have played again and again and again, pretty much to death. And if Freeze doesn't get it, he's typically defaulted previously to Twitch or Draven. And neither of those two right now are amazing. So it's not too much of a surprise that they want to pick Freeze's best AD carry. Even though he's very capable on pretty much every AD carry, they want to get him on his strongest. Make sure they don't make the same mistakes as the last game.
Okay, so Alton have spent a lot of time thinking about their next couple picks, and we'll be looking towards the Evelyn, potentially from Stinger. So to ban out the Evelyn, ban out the Lee Sin, so that opens up the playing field for other junglers by Ninjas in Pyjamas. We haven't seen too many of the junglers from Ku, so I'm very interested in seeing where he defaults.
Normally it's Jarvan or Rengar. They're the two that he defaults to when they're not available. I have seen him play him time and time again, and we did have a couple of lock-ins there by Alternate. That Irelia that they've kind of been banning out a lot has actually been let through. So we'll see how NIP kind of fare against that.
Okay, well, there's the Twisted Fate we were talking about before, and also the Thresh will be going to Voidor, so he's going to be very comfortable in that champion. Alex Ditch as well will be going onto the Twisted Fate, so we'll have that pressure in the lanes as well. So those are the next two pickups from NIP. Yeah,
it's a little bit of a different style. It's not a protect the Cogmore composition so much anymore. Now you're looking at a pick and you use Cogmore to snowball from that. You get the hook, you get a gold card. From there, it's easy to take objectives, and Cogmore's very good with the Bioarcane Barrage from a distance at taking down turrets. So it's pretty straightforward. Again, we've seen a lot of Twisted Fate recently. Wouldn't be surprised to see an Orianna go up against this in the middle lane. It's very standard, very safe, but it's one way of kind of keeping on top of Twisted Fate, and maybe we'll see that out of Snow.
So the hover over Caitlyn and Zyra, and with 1 second remaining, we'll be locked in. Okay, so Zyra probably going to go to Bonaparte. We've seen him play that time and time again. Again, Sunny. Caitlyn's always been part of his arsenal for the bot lane picks, so no doubt going to him. Well, we'll be going to him. I don't think Caitlyn will be showing her face in any of the other lanes, but we do know potentially the bot lane. I don't think I've seen a mid lane Zyra as of like the Bimbo 8 days.
No, that's unless you're Cowtard, in which
unless
case,
you're Cowtard, yeah.
Although he doesn't do that anymore. Cowtard, ever since getting LCS, has not really been the okay, I'll just play Zyra then.
And Cowtard's actually not playing right now, so
true. That's so many changes.
So many changes to teams, not only in Challenger but also in the LCS and other
even changes today.
Of play.
Like to NA LCS, it's crazy. Everybody's not happy with things the way they are. But NIP have some options available. There we go. Javan. I kind of alluded to it. I wanted to mention Nidalee is an option against Irelia up in that top lane, but I got caught up in all the changes talk, and now it just seems like I'm making it up.
Yeah, so Nidalee, I predict a Nidalee pick that they've locked in.
It's one of those things.
Ooh, hello.
Hello.
So, Sigu, if you think back to DreamHack, picked up Karthus, played that several times, did very well with that pick. And it's a very real possibility from Alternate. It would be a little bit of a curveball because I haven't seen them use this champion before. I actually haven't seen Tenel on that champion either. But if you can play it, then why the hell not?
So it's one way of offsetting some of the global pressure that Twisted Fate has. Because obviously Requiem map wide, you can just stay in the lane and farm that out, whereas Twisted Fate actively has to leave. Also is another way of combating a lot of the scaling. I would probably expect the Syndra more. Syndra has become a far more common mid-lane champion, is very good at bursting out Twisted Fate, who, to be honest, isn't amazingly good at surviving through it, because he wants to run Ghost. He doesn't want to run a particularly defensive summoner with a heal or a barrier. So it means that your burst damage at level 6 out of Syndra is a lot more effective than, say, an Orianna or a Lulu, who can shield themselves and is likely to take a defensive summoner.
Yeah, we've seen almost every Twisted Fate recently take Flash and also Ghost in the mid lane. So everything has been locked, and it was actually the Syndra coming out. So foregoing the Karthus in this game, but happy to sit on the Syndra. So what does that mean for the whole composition from Alternate? Well, like last game, a lot of abilities to kind of catch people out. We've got the Grasping Roots from Zyra, the burst potential from Snow as well, on top of the Scatter the Weak. And as well, Stinger will be sitting on the Cocoon. So lots of ways to pick out an out-of-place target.
A lot of disengage as well, because that's the other side of Scatter the Weak, is you can land a multi-person stun to disengage. The same with Stranglethorns. To get away, you zone out a large area, and that could leave Alex teleporting into a fight very open. If he teleports in and there's a Stranglethorns in between his team and him, he's going to die as soon as he gets there, unless he can build a very early Zhonya's Hourglass, which against the Syndra, you don't want to do. So it could mean in those earlier fights, in the mid-game fights, Alex could be zoned away. But the problem is there is good dive on NIP. You look at Alex teleporting in. You look at the Cataclysm coming out from Ku. If they can get on the alternate backline, they can pretty much blow them up very quickly themselves.
Yeah, and as a possibility for this game, so Jarvan coming in as well will be going to Ku. You mentioned we saw some Rengar as well from Ku with the maximum cooldown reduction. We'll be seeing that this game. Jarvan is an ultimate that can go either way. You might lock your teams into a fight, or expertly placed Jarvan ultimate, the Cataclysm, of course, will be able to keep people away or lock everyone in for a big wombo combo initiate. So sometimes see that with like an Orianna and go with the ball delivery system, but this time just with the Twisted Fate.
Yeah, I actually like the Jarvan on Ku a lot more than the Evelynn. And Jarvan's a champion that pretty much is predominantly European when it comes to junglers. There was a period of time where every European jungler could play Jarvan and would if Lee Sin wasn't available. And Ku is able to get into lane early on in the game, has a lot of early game damage, and can actually stamp his authority a lot easier than on Evelynn, where if he gets caught out, sometimes it can be a little difficult for Evelynn to escape. Jarvan doesn't have so much of a problem with that. And there are a lot of different gank paths that you can make with Jarvan, jumping over walls, jumping into bushes, just making sure that you're getting into the lane as efficiently as possible. So it's a lot more of Ku's style of champion than Evelynn, and I kind of ragged on him a little bit earlier for the Evelynn, and it didn't work out for him in that game. So I'm kind of hoping that it does work out for Ku in this game on the Jarvan.
Well, can be just as aggressive as he is on some of those other champions. So I can play it into the hands of Ninjas in Pyjamas, and as we mentioned earlier, may have just joined us, but both of these teams lost against their earlier opponents today. Alternate just dropped the game to H2K. Of course, Ninjas in Pyjamas losing game to Unicorns of Love, who again actually beat them out yesterday in the Black Monster Cup. So, not had a good run of games from either of these teams. So Alternate and Ninjas in Pyjamas trying to show that they are just as good as we've seen them in recent tournaments. But I have things to play for. You would say Ninjas in Pyjamas would come into this as slight favourites, though.
Yes, you would. Although it's a very important game for them after having lost earlier. You'd imagine NIP would be at a 2-0 situation.
Yeah.
They had the walkover over H2K. But now being 1-1, it's in a group stage to be 1-1 is probably one of the worst places you can be going into your final games, just because you're in a situation where you don't know whether you're through completely, and there's no security that you will be through completely, because if there's a 0-3, you can have teams completely tied, and then it's down to a tiebreaker.
Yeah.
So if ever you drop one game in a group stage, it becomes infinitely more difficult. So NIP must pick this up to, have a lot more security going towards the playoffs.
These teams do not want to go to a tiebreaker situation. That's something that may even happen in this tournament, but we'll see how that works out. After this game, we'll have confirmation on that. So they are trying to secure their places on Sunday for playoffs. And right now, this game matters quite a lot. Both these teams losing their early games means they really need to start picking up the pace with only 2 games remaining. This is our 3rd game of today. We have 4 games today. It was meant to be 3 a day, but we did have some scheduling constraints, so yesterday we only had 2 games.
Ironically, it was the NIP Unicorns of Love game that we couldn't do yesterday.
Yes.
And I wonder whether it would have benefited NIP doing it yesterday. Just because if they could have composed themselves after losing to Unicorns of Love once yesterday, which, funnily enough, was at the time we were meant to start broadcasting, I wonder how that would have worked out if they had to play back-to-back.
Yeah.
Could they have adapted to some of the picks? Did Unicorns of Love need the extra time to come up with something new against Ninjas in Pyjamas?
Because it's a very similar situation to like a best of 5. Especially in Korea, you'll see a lot of best of 5s, and you'll see the teams, have to play the psychological game as they get into that because it's fairly long. But anyway, guys, we are getting underway with this game and hoping there's going to be no pause because that's happening in every other game. But Alternate coming on to the red corner this time round, and Ninjas in Pyjamas down in the bottom side of the map heading into their jungle. And hello, Alexich. That was a summoner.
I was going to say, Alex has ghosted.
He was really keen to get to lane.
That's interesting.
No one would have seen that, though.
No one would have seen it. I just wonder whether he's looking for an early ward, perhaps. I mean,
I don't think it was worth it. It was like, I'm going to go for this early ward in the place that's really easy to get to.
So, as long as he doesn't end up in a situation where Ghost in lane is going to really be necessary. I mean, Ghost typically isn't utilized that much until level 6 anyway, when you're ghosting to try and, cross the map to get your ultimate. So it's not the biggest cooldown. It's not like a flash that is your last ditch escape. Ghost doesn't particularly help you too much if you're close to death. It just kind of puts a little bit more distance and your enemy just kind of flashes forward onto you and just finishes the damage anyway. But Ku is very aggressive here.
He is, but so is Snow. Gets the first blow of the game onto Ku, and we'll at least send him back to base just to make sure he's on 4 HP and mana. So, also what they won't, well, as they don't have that information on the Ghost, they probably won't go for the gank anyway, being like, oh, well, he's burnt his flash, but he also has his Ghost, so probably don't need to go for this other gank. I might also spend my time down at bot lane. So without knowing that, then that's also information. When you get to this caliber of play, people will be thinking about that before they go with the gank, rather than, gonna gank him until he dies.
Yeah, indeed. I still puzzles me. I guess it was intentional. We'll never know. Not until we check Twitter at the end. And turns out the Ghost cost him the entire game.
Yeah.
And he was like, oh, I accidentally hit Ghost. That's happened before. Remember when Cop built 2 Infinity Edges and he was like, oops. And everyone was like, oh, what is this? Cop the God. Making new meta.
No, double Infinity Edge in the full item build actually results in slightly more damage. But
Don't justify it.
that was a mistake.
So, something in that bottom lane that you saw NIP do to try and offset Alternate very early on. Caitlyn Zyra is going to push the wave incredibly quickly if they start using abilities like Piltover Peacemaker, like the Grasping Roots. So you actually saw Voided start flaying the wave to just try and put damage down, make sure they didn't get shoved into the tower and get denied, the ease of farm that they really want here. And again, it's piling pressure onto a Kog'Maw whose laning phase is not as strong as a champion like Caitlyn, who's come back into the meta now that a couple of champions are a little less brutal to play against in lane. Now that Lucian doesn't just pretty much dominate the early laning phase, Kog'Maw has a very low auto-attack range without that Bioarcane Barrage. So Caitlyn finds her place back as kind of a lane bully in this early laning phase.
I mean, 500 without Biocane Barrage compared to 650 from Caitlyn is quite a big difference.
Yeah.
It's 1.5 Teemo's difference. It's quite a lot. And it means Sunny will be able to put down the pressure. This is a minion, but will be able to poke Freeze as hard as possible underneath the tower. Sitting on top of the Voidoos, but no kills just yet. Hello, Ku, around the corner, and Koi may have gone a little bit too far forward. This is Flying Drag, doesn't get the CC, has been stunned underneath the turret. One more attack should be able to finish off. There's the first blood. Goes to Ku. Both of the divers survive the line.
You see how much easier it is for Ku to get into the lane, even though he did not get the knockup on the Demacian standard. It didn't even matter. He was in position, in the right place in the lane to get the kill there, and that's the difference between Evelynn and Jarvan. Jarvan is so much easier to get into the lane, but he may find a little bit of trouble because Stinger is in his jungle and Ku is pretty low, but I don't think that they're actually going to check in.
Yeah. When you go diving, always dive with a friend.
Diving buddies.
Diving buddies. So, we'll be purchasing a snorkel, maybe looking to go diving again on another lane. Alex in the mid lane, he's farming out. Pretty much Twisted Fate's game in the mid lane. Stinger though, looking for a gank, especially if you land a perfect scatter the weak from Snow. Stinger looking for the cocoon, which will not be landing onto Alexis, but he did burn the second summoner. And he also used Ghost in the meantime as well. So no summons for Alexis now.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a tough lane for him right now. Snow is outputting a lot of damage from those orbs getting placed, but as long as Alex can start avoiding them, he may have to back fairly shortly. But, you know, that's one of the things Twisted Fate's always going to have is extra mana regeneration from those blue cards. So, can Ku get into the lane? Snow already kind of aware that something is going on. You can see how defensively positioned in the lane he is, but does get tagged.
Meanwhile, that's Royal flashing up red in the bot lane. Sunny will be doing the same. And they will be able to back away if they need to. Bonaparte is home safe and dry, but there's the flag and drag, the slide through onto Sunny. Doesn't connect the knock-up. Good flash out in time. Royal, though, that's a lot of minion damage. One more auto attack, and the minions are still trailing after. He just managed to survive. The heal comes out from Freeze. That's a summoner burn. Yeah,
that's a good pick for alternate there. Getting that summoner down means that the pressure that they're applying right now is a little bit easier to convert later on in the laning phase. Although saying that, they're only 2 CS up right now, so Freeze has done a good job of keeping on top of last hitting here. And I guess the other side of that coin is maybe Sunny has been prioritizing harassing in lane a little bit more than farm.
And Freeze is still farming underneath the turret, so he's got even more farm to play with, and this next wave coming in. So he's actually ahead of Caitlyn right now, which is not a situation Ultimate needs to be in at all. You would expect that lane, or would also hope that lane would go the way of Alternate. Because Cogmore late game is a very scary prospect, and especially if he has a very easy lane farming, then that's just going to accelerate the problems that they'll have.
Yeah, indeed. And you know, that's one of the things we were questioning in between games is, can Sunny get his mentality back for this game? Because he had a really rough game in the previous game. I think it was something like 0-8 at one point in the game. Made it really difficult for him. And if he hasn't steadied himself, then it may kind of be an idea as to why Freeze is still doing okay in this lane. But here comes the Destiny.
The gate will be getting the stun card onto Koi. The gold card will land. Alexis takes one more tower. Charlton doesn't take the very last one. Of course, towers do ramp up in damage even faster, and a very clean dive from Alex Ich.
Yeah, Alex didn't even need to use Ghost in that one either, so we'll have that available for a subsequent gank when Destiny comes back up. But it's a very patient play out by Ku. He's been sat around in this bottom lane for a while.
And there's the hook, and it will be paying off. Finds himself the Zyra in the bot lane. Sunny was also under attack, and now this is a 3 versus 2, but Sunny trying to get all the kills in this lane, but Ku will be taking another tower shot. Freeze was unable to kill Bonaparte in the background. Roy will be knocking him back into his AD carry. Freeze should have enough damage here to pick up the second, so it was maybe very greasy, but it pays off. 2-0. Meanwhile, Cabachon has managed to find Stinger. Will be landing the Javelin toss as well. Manages to leap towards him with the pounce, but Koi looking to try and punish him as he heads back into not his turret. That's the enemy's turret, and will be locked up. The Equilibrium Strike gets the slow and also the Scatter the Weak. Make sure he's not going anywhere. So a 1 for 2 overall on the rest of the map, and a 1-0 in that trade.
I think Alex is in lane thinking, what are you doing?
Why
I haven't pushed that. But no, Cabachard was chasing. It looked like he got a good amount of damage down onto Stinger in the jungle in a trade while bottom lane was going on. So I think he was just looking to get a greedy kill onto Stinger, and it's easy there for Syndra to come across as it is for Koi, because nobody's in Koi's lane to stop him. And Alex was pretty shoved in towards his turret because Syndra had just been pushing. So it was easy to collapse around Cabachard there. So maybe just a little bit of a misread of the map there out of Cabachard. But it was pretty much still NIP taking the advantage across the total map because of the kills they got on the bottom side.
Yeah, it was easy for him to make that decision because he's so far ahead in farm right now. Bot lane just got that double kill. Mid lane is just, well, also has the ability to teleport all over the place. So he's thinking, I'm pretty safe to do what I like. But only 8 minutes into the game, turns out not so much. Sunny and Bonaparte back in action in the bottom lane. And meanwhile, in the top lane, Koi will be flashing up red, and Cabachar this time, it all works out.
Yeah, it does all work out, but it's bottom lane, the strand with the grasping roots have landed again.
Land onto Koi, or rather Ku. That's not helpful. Ku and Koi in this game. But Ku will be moving away. Was caught out, did have that warded up. Stinger also heads into the bot lane just to make sure he's not looking for a dive. And he's in fact just heading back to his jungle. So 5-1 to take stock of this game so far. 2,000 gold ahead is Ninjas in Pyjamas. Lots of gold all over these members in the mid lane. We will have Snow with a little bit more gold to play with. 1,200 in his back pocket, just going for that blue buff. And Voidal goes for the hook, doesn't like that.
Yes, indeed. But honestly, Ku's ganking paths right now have started to become a little bit samey. And that's only because there aren't too many ways into the bottom lane, but you can see that the wards have been put out by Alternate in the bottom lane. Particularly that ward's picked Ku up twice, also one in Tribush that Ku ended up clearing out. So maybe he needs to start mixing things up, start rearing his head in other lanes, because he's not actually getting any work done in the bottom lane right now, although he is helping Freeze and Voidal to fight in this lane a little bit easier, so it is still working out.
Voidal, very buxom minion, but Ku, or rather Snow, has gotten caught out here, and Ku will be the one catching it. Both of the mid laners drop though. Enough damage of Unleash Power, Ignite, and the rest of the combo. So a 1-for-1 in that situation is not too shabby.
Only just managed to get that though, but there we go. Ku puts himself into another lane, makes sure that his team gets a kill from it. That's what they needed to do, and yes, it may pile a little bit more pressure on Freeze and Voidal in the bottom lane, but they're pretty capable right now. They've got a kill to their name, they're farming fairly well. They just need to engage.
Oh, the flash hook, and everything comes onto Sunny. Also lands the death sentence, all the CC land. Bonaparte has nowhere really to run, has the flash out, but Voidal is still just going to drag him back in, lands everything he possibly needed to, and Freeze just had a very easy bot lane.
The initial word I was going to say was need to play this smart, and that's exactly what they did, because they read that perfectly. They knew they could engage. They knew there was no way of Zyra completely disengaging that. So another 2 kills go over to Ninjas in Pyjamas, and as we said, I think they've had a little bit longer here to compose themselves, and it looks like it's working out for them.
Yeah, Koi in the top lane, not having a fun time at all. Will be dropping very low. Cabachard manages to utilize that hunted passive, go for the takedown, and it will be Alexis heading into the top lane. The Destiny, the gate, looking for that last gold card as well. Slams into the backside of Koi and manages to get the kill. Meanwhile, they did have the dragon going down to Ninjas in Pyjamas as well, so 9-2, leading in all the categories you could possibly think of.
Yeah, NIP are so far ahead, and you have to feel like Alternate maybe are having a bit of deja vu here. It is not working out for them today, and we talked about it. They made a couple of changes to their lineup, and I don't know whether they're actually working out yet. I mean, you've got to give a new lineup time. They have to steady themselves, but we're at the end of the season, and lineup changes are pretty much do or die decisions right now. If you don't gel completely as a team instantly, you won't get the wins where you need them, and right now Alternate aren't exactly looking like a team that are looking to qualify for LCS, and that's probably quite harsh to say, but at this point it's fair.
Yeah, and it's not like Alternate can go for another iteration of their team at this stage. They've already gone through multiple players, so 1-4 in the top lane. Koi actually having the type of game that Cabachard had earlier today, but NIP are sitting right on top of a ward, and funny enough, that pink ward cannot actually see that, as Stinger has managed to pick off one player, but Snow has been pulled out by Koi. Auto attacks are still coming down. Dragon Strike will finish him off. Repel comes up, and we'll be getting the Venomous Bite for the kill. Alexic also following up the wild card. Cabachard with the auto attacks as well gets the next kill. 1 for 2. Cabachard actually thinking about a tower dive, but we'll be pouncing away.
We've seen that before from Cabachard. He's going to go for it.
Oh yeah, he will actually go for this dive. Alexis locks in the gold card, looking to land this onto Koi. There's the Transcendent Blades, but the Cabachard will go for that dive. Wild card catches him on the very tip. 12 and 3, just every single trade has gone the way of NIP.
Oh man, and you can see the difference now on the new Nidalee with that hunted passive. The leap is so much further onto towards
the range.
Yeah, it doubles the range. Oh, Cabachard actually gets into the lane.
Yeah, and doubles the kill onto Sunny. Got the living artillery coming down. Cabachard just needs a couple more auto attacks. The Voidal needs to land this hook. There's the flash. There's the hook. Doesn't quite land. Sunny sidesteps it, but it allowed them enough room to close the gap and pick up the kill.
Yeah, closes the gap. Didn't need the hook. Ooh, actually, stun comes out.
Voidal has gotten caught out. Did pop the box as well. Maybe overkill, but better safe than sorry. And when you're this far ahead, don't want to make any blunders. Stinger will be faking out the jump over the wall. The flag and drag goes only 1 inch, and Stinger gets away. That was a very nice fake out.
Oh man, that right there is mind games to the extreme. Alex pretty much predicted what most players would do, would be jump to golems if they hadn't recognized that the Destiny had gone through. And actually there was only a split second before the repel that Destiny had activated.
Yeah.
So it's kind of good reactions there from Stinger to not instantly drop and just kind of backtrack on himself, because he was certainly dead if he went over that wall. So really nice read.
He also flashed over the standard as well, with the Master standard. So when Ku went to knock him up, he just went like half a teemo, and it was like, oh, didn't get the knock up, don't have any way to chase after you, and we'll get away. So Bones, quite a few ultimates in there, but Snow will not be quite so lucky. Won't be able to take up the blue buff. Gets the Scatter of the Week, but there's the flash, there's the gold card. Alexic finds himself yet another kill. Full 1 and 3, 109 farm. And Voidal, well, Sunny is not having a good day today.
No, although he's going to waste as much time as he can here. He knows he's a goner.
Yeah, he's going to dance back and forth and see who can get the assist. There's the Death Sentence living up to its name and will secure the life of Sunny. So it's Alternate not really feeling very good in this game. They're making decisions that they wouldn't necessarily make if the game was so even, but they're not really as composed as they typically are. And
Bonaparte?
case in point, Bonaparte will be taken out just by Alexic in the mid lane.
That area of the map does not belong to you anymore, Bonaparte.
Yeah.
You don't have free reign over the exits to your jungle. I mean,
normally
they
at 60
have,
minutes you would.
Yeah, normally you would, but right
Not in
now
this game.
without vision, no, you don't have that. You probably don't even have this kind of area in front of your inner turrets.
That's not yours. Stay away from it.
It's not yours. It's going to be NIP sooner or later, but Snow could be the saving grace. A stun like that onto one of the carries could result in a very dead, squishy target, but that would kind of mean NIP would have had to have overextended a little bit.
I'm talking about squishy targets, but everyone from Ultimate at the moment is a squishy target. Everyone being under-leveled, under-farmed, under-itemized. Middle turret goes down, Cabachard will be leading the charge. Nice Scatter the Weak lands onto 3 players right there, and Volatile Spiraling will just do some more harassment, but Koi as well is not really very tanky for a member of the team who will want to be diving into the back lines. There's the Destiny. Where will the gate go? Or is he just using it for vision and knowledge? Looks to be the latter of those 2 options.
Yeah, it looks like it. I mean, they were trapped inside their base, so I'm not too sure. I mean, unless he thought maybe they were making a very ballsy play. That's one
I saw them 5 seconds ago, but they may have gone elsewhere.
Okay.
And Koi, or Ku, is dead. Koi is actually not dead. He panned in for the assist there. But Koi not in the best of... Damn it. Ku not in the best of positions.
Some people actually used to call Ku Koi,
Yeah, they actually did.
which
yeah.
was very confusing when Koi turned up. Ooh, Cabachard stunned.
Pick after pick. There's the Unleashed Power and pounces towards Sunny, trying to get a kill and revenge, but that's 2 kills, 2 quick pickoffs, and there was some shutdowns as well, so I wasn't quite happy with how that worked out.
Yeah, I mean, Alternate will be happy with that. They are still significantly far behind, but Voidal, do you really want to engage this?
Well, latches onto a plant. Koi will be hit up by the living artillery, and now they'll be backing off. Multiple pings into the mid lane by Ninjas in Pyjamas. Definitely saying if these guys are sticking around, we will go for this engagement. But only 3 members there. Caitlyn in the top lane will be going back to base. FACEIT cycling through all of the cards. And clears out the rest of the way with the red. Bonaparte falling in no stellar of positions, and will think better of it and just walk back to base.
Yeah, it's going to be a dragon, however, for NIP. It'll be, I believe, their second of the game here. So there's not too much that Alternate can do right now, holding on to objectives. Their saving grace is that they have decent wave clear. So it means that they can hold on to their inhibitor turrets for pretty much as long as they don't make a mistake. If they step too far forward or chase NIP too far out of their base, then they're in a situation where the wave clear from Syndra, Zyra, and Caitlyn isn't going to be enough.
Amberchard is sitting at the Baron. I'm not really sure what he's doing.
He's just aggroed it.
Yeah. I think he's either waiting for his team or doing something. What are you doing, Cabbagechard? What's your game?
Well, he knows there's a ward in the back. So that pink ward can see it.
He just placed down the pink ward. It's actually bounced off Baron. But Voidal taking down that ward. He's landing the javelin toss onto Bonaparte. And we'll be backing off. Meanwhile, Caitlyn flashing up red in the bot lane. Ku looking to deal the last bit of damage. Dragon Strike will not be enough, but Alex Hitch will make sure that Sunny is a dead man. Comes in from behind. Gold cards, wild cards, dead Sunny.
Yep, dead Sunny, that means dead towers probably, because NIP, they aren't convicted on one decision yet. You saw them start to move towards mid. They haven't pulled a trigger on, okay, we got to pick, this is what we're going to do here. Looks like they want to set up a 3-1-1 setup, which, you know, I think is the right call right now. Alex and Freeze have so much damage that they can do to turrets that it's really easy for them, but they may have got a cocoon caught.
Well, Cabbagechard takes the turret in the top lane. Voidal pulls Alex into safety. And now they just need to go to work on the bottom turret, or even go towards the Baron. The world is their oyster, or at least the Summon's Rift is.
Yes, it is. Now, will the Pearl at the end, the Nexus, will that be revealed for them anytime soon? That is, that's the question.
So they'll have to get through the shell of the oyster.
No, let's
end this here and now. It's gone too far. Ultimate looking to hold on for dear life.
I thought you were thinking of another oyster-based pun there. I was going to get up and walk off.
Delicious. So, Ultimate just getting poked to death. Living artilleries aren't enough in freeze. There's the ace in the hole, blocked up by the shield, and the shield itself was enough to mitigate so much of that damage from Ultimate. They just cannot respond in time with the amount of poke that's coming in from Ninjas in Pyjamas. Absolutely brutal. The javelin tosses, the wild cards, the living artilleries, and one by one they just have to go back to base and regain their life. And meanwhile, the middle inhibitor turret is not going to be doing the same in a hurry. And this may be the push where it's going to go down. Alternate feel like they may have to go for this fight, but immediately regret the decision. A great strong of Fawns that knocks up 3 members from Ninjas in Pyjamas. There's the Scatter the Weak and the Volatile spiraling on towards Ku. Cabbagechard takes some hits. The Seraph's Embrace will be popped. That's actually facing the mountain. In the mid lane, the inhibitor will be falling. Everyone's dropping actually quite low from Ninjas in Pyjamas, but Bonaparte will have to go back to base with his tail between his legs. So they went in, picked up what they wanted, and they went out.
Yeah, the inhibitor was exactly what they wanted, and while the Stranglethorns did knock up a couple of members from NIP, it actually cost Alternate the turret, because they wanted to disengage, but if you disengage from your turret, you lose the turret. That's just how that goes. You can't disengage and still be under the turret. That's kind of impossible. So they've ended up, now they're going to have to go for that desperation in it, or, well, you know, do it or die situation.
Yeah. And with FACEIT revealing them. They know what's up. Can they finish off the Baron in time? Nope. Everyone is going to get melted. Ku comes in, will be dying, but surely it's just cleanup time. Yes, it is. 3 kills in quick succession. It will be Stinger going back to base. Bonaparte is splitting off from the pack, trying to be the sacrificial lamb and maybe save the life of his ally of Stinger. But, well, Repel comes up, and what goes up will come down right onto Nidalee. That's going to be the game. That was the surrender vote. Alternate will be losing out in this game. Ninjas in Pyjamas with a very convincing performance in the second game of today, which actually ends in around 20 minutes. So it's just been the order of the day. The game's just ending very quickly, being very, very one-sided.
Yeah, that is kind of true. And NIP will breathe a sigh of relief that they got past their second game of the day. The first one was a bit of an upset for them. This one was a lot more comfortable. That's what we'd expect out of NIP, but their fate really isn't decided yet because it's still on the final game of the day.
Yeah.
You've still got to see H2K compete here, and you know, if H2K and Unicorns of Love goes in the way of H2K, then I believe we're in a bit of a tough situation. I think
It may even create ties.
I think it may even be a tie. So we will have to double check that during the break. But while we are on a break, which will be coming up soon, make sure you head over to FACEIT.com. Get signed up for the FACEIT platform where you can play League of Legends against people of your own skill level in the Leagues and Ladders system. I believe they've even implemented the tournament code mode as well. So it's easier than ever to get into game. And you can win some pretty awesome prizes, accrue some points. And if you end up at the top of your ladder, then you can actually end up winning some pretty cool things.
Yes, indeed. But anyway, guys, we will be jumping to a quick break. And when we get back, we'll also be double-checking the results of potential ties as well. So we'll get back to you on that information. But until then, we'll catch you in a bit.